More Americans are seeking greater meaning in their very busy material lives, and they're discovering volunteer vacations. One retired chemistry teacher from Woodbury wanted the opportunity to help others while experiencing another culture in a non-touristy kind of way. Joining us is Fox 9's Volunteer of the Month, Judy Trepka, to tell us about her 6 Global Volunteers experiences. It's so great to have you on here. You spent just your entire years after you retired traveling the globe and helping people. I just think that's a wonderful thing.
Thank you.
Let's just show this first picture. You are in Hungary here, where you are teaching children how to speak English. Tell us about this trip. This was in Hungary.
Right. We were the first Global Volunteers trip team that went to Hungary, and they were very welcoming. They were so happy to have us there. I worked with a wonderful English teacher who had some difficulty with pronunciation because she'd never really talked to anyone that spoke English as their first language. And I helped her a lot, I think, with her pronunciation and consequently with the pronunciation for the students.
Was there anything about Hungary? I mean, did you know much about the country before you decided to embark on this journey to, help people speak English?
Well, whenever I go on these trips, I try to do some reading and find out something about the country and a little bit about the language, because even though I don't know how to speak it, I still know something about the grammar, construction, and something about the gender and those kinds of things. And
the history and probably the cultures and all that.
Right.
All right, let's talk about, most recently, you were in Poland. You've been there a couple of times
now.
Yes,
I have.
And I understand that you worked with a retired professor. Tell me about that.
Yes, he was from the University of Warsaw. He was an architectural professor, and he'd had a mild stroke, and he'd lost his ability to speak Polish and English as well. And his Polish came back, but he needed some help with his English, so I worked with him for the 2 weeks that I was there, about 5 to 6 hours a day, and at the end of that time, he was speaking English very well.
And his students said it was really a miracle that he just...
Yeah, it was quite a surprise to everyone, and they said his Polish improved as well.
All right, now this is a picture of, this is in a classroom. This is also in Hungary. Tell me about these kids.
Yeah, they were so eager and such fun, and I actually arranged for many of them to be pen pals with children in my granddaughter's school in Iowa. And the teacher that I worked with was such a delight and so dedicated, and it was really fun to go into the classrooms, because when you would walk in, the students would remain standing until the teacher came in, and they would give a daily report, which included the weather and the day of the week and those kinds of things in English. And
pretty different from the experience here, and you certainly know, as a former teacher, a higher respect for their teachers there?
I think so. And then when I left, I was just bestowed with flowers and note cards, and they were really very grateful.
And I understand that you traveled to Romania, and this was shortly after 9/11. This was just a month after. And some of the students gave you some artwork that expressed their feeling of Americans post 9/11.
Yes.
This is a picture. Do you know this? Remember this student?
I do. We worked with groups of them that were released from the regular classes, and we just sat and talked to them. And at the end of the time, sometimes I would give them some paper and some markers and let them express themselves and then explain what they had done. And this was one of the students, and I was really surprised that she had this concept of the skyline of New York and
the Twin Towers.
Yes, right. It made such an impression on them all.
You can tell.
Yes.
That's a wonderful thing. It's a pleasure having you on here to talk about so many. I mean, there are more trips. She's gone on 6 of these, and I look forward to having you back the next trip that you take.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Well, if you are interested, and by the way, thank you, Judy Trepka. If you are interested in learning more about Global Volunteers, you can log on to globalvolunteers.org.